Welcome back to another episode of Pour Your Own Problems. I am your host, Mercy. Money and notoriety doesn't equate to good character. Some may say, Mercy, what you mean by that? I'm stating that it's funny how we tend to prop people up, reward them for their successes, but we don't actually look into the character of that person, whether it's their fellow man or whether or not they know how to keep it in their pants. And so we're going to deep dive, take a look at a few videos today and understand that everyone is human. Everyone has flaws and everyone makes mistakes. That's granted. But at the end of the day, we got to stop giving certain individuals so much power without examining their character. Remember, pour your own problems. I can't do it for you.
Former University of Michigan football coach Sherrone Moore is appearing in court. On Wednesday, as you may know, he was fired as coach, and then shortly after he was arrested. Now we have learned that he's facing 3 charges: home invasion, stalking, and breaking and entering. The university has said that Sherrone was fired for cause after finding out he was engaged in, quote, an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. We are looking at his first court appearance. Let's listen in.
In light of the factual scenario that gives rise to these charges, my best understanding from a thorough review of the police report and as much body-worn camera as I've had an opportunity to review is that I understand that our victim broke up. They had an intimate relationship for a number of years, defendant and victim, that our victim broke up with this defendant on Monday morning early, that there continued to be defendant making numerous phone calls and sending numerous texts from that time moving forward that she did not answer, did not respond to, and did not want. That eventually she presented herself to the University of Michigan, cooperated in some form of investigation there. As we all now know, defendant was at some point on Wednesday afternoon fired from his employment. He then, at some point soon thereafter, came to her apartment in the address that is alleged in the complaint, barged his way into that apartment, immediately then proceeded to a kitchen drawer, grabbed several butter knives and a pair of kitchen scissors, and began to threaten his own life. I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to make you watch. My blood is on your hands. You ruined my life. And a series of very, very threatening, intimidating, terrifying, quite frankly, statements and behaviors there. And then he was going, and then he left. And so, Your Honor, while I understand that there isn't evidence to suggest that he directly threatened the victim with any of those implements that I've indicated, the totality of the behavior is highly threatening and highly intimidating. She was terrorized, Your Honor.
The worst thing.
So let's break this down. You crashing out because you lost your job. It's not on her. It's not on her. She was a subordinate. It's not on her that you lost your job. You lost your job because you couldn't keep it in your pants. You lost your job because you couldn't maintain a role. And that's a role of a superior. You lost your job. Take accountability for your actions. You can, that's all we can do. That's all we can do is take responsibility for our actions. But you're projecting this situation on this young lady. You caused this. It would have never happened if you wasn't sleeping with the help. You caused this. So at the end of the day, you need to look at yourself first, because it was your character, it was your behavior that led you down this path. Now you want to crash out because you lost your job? You lost your job. She didn't lose your job for you. So, like, man, like it just amazes me that people don't want to take accountability for their actions. It's always somebody else's fault. And that's what led to you crashing out, because you didn't want to take responsibility for your actions. Your life wasn't ruined. Now it may be, shoot, because you crashed out. But your life wasn't ruined. You just lost your job for dealing with a subordinate. You did not lose your job because of her. You lost your job for dealing with a subordinate, and you should have known better. So look yourself in the mirror. Look yourself in the eye. Why crash out? Why crash out when it was all up to you? You didn't have to make the issue. You didn't have to press the issue. You lost your job, and you should have just walked away knowing that you was going to get another job because of what? You were the Michigan football coach. This is just a situation that should have never occurred. You should have never been at that young lady house. You should have never crashed out talking about you going to do something to yourself. You should have just took the L and went on your merry way. Like, granted, like I say, we all make mistakes, but you got to take it on the chin, because you caused this mistake and know not to do it again. Let's deep dive and look into the situation where the CEO, Fawn Weaver, embarrasses a fan. So with that, let's look.
How are you?
We just in the same class in 6th, 7th, 8th grade. Watching
So I'm supposed to remember you. Okay,
you know what I mean?
can I tell y'all that this man just said, do you remember me?
From 6th or
I
7th
said,
grade.
Make it make sense to me. He said we were in the same class in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Me, you not even serious?
Okay.
He's being serious.
Yes,
though.
he
Are you
is.
being serious? I do not. I'm sorry. No,
Which
I
one?
don't remember the 6th, the 7th, or the 8th grade.
We were in the same class.
Okay.
Me, you and
Well,
I.
that's nice to meet you.
you.
Yo.
Yes,
Hello. Okay. All right.
So I like the fact that she still gave him a hug in the end, but the rhetoric behind it was like unclassy. And we got to start examining these people's character, because at the end of the day, I would like to think that I remember people if we was in the class, if we was in the same class maybe 1 year out of our whole tenure in high school and middle school, okay, maybe I don't remember you. But if you 6th, 7th, 8th, I would like to think that you somewhat remember something about somebody, especially if y'all was in the same class. You may not know nothing about them, but their name, their look, they may look familiar, but I don't see her point in saying that she don't remember nobody from 6th, 7th, 8th grade, specifically if they were in the same class with you. I ain't buying that. I ain't buying that. Now, on the other hand, why is she coming at him as if they were dating? He didn't say nothing about dating. You know, like how women would be like, like how some guys or some women be like, yeah, I used to talk to them. I used to sleep with them. She came at this man as if he said something in that nature. And it's like, nah, he didn't say nothing there. He just said y'all went to school together. So my opinion, like, why are you coming off so snobbish? Why are you coming off so snobbish as if this person is beneath you? It comes off like that because at the end of the day, this is a fan. Regardless if y'all went to school together or not, he's a fan. He came to see you, get pictures with you to support your brand. And now you can't get your act together for your brand. I see if she didn't make it like so noticeable, like, hey, look, I don't remember you, but I'm glad you came to support me. You obnoxiously made it more, amplified the whole situation than it had to be. like I said, she comes up, it came off as if, you know, like quote unquote, I used to sleep with her. Like he said something like that, or we used to date. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, it didn't roll off that way. And so for you to amplify it because you have a certain stature just shows me your character. Just shows me that you feel that you're way up here. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't carry yourself a certain way, but showing your fans, showing people that's coming out to support you and your brand, I think that's a piss poor attitude to have, because that is a person that is a loyal customer and coming to support your brand. And so, like I stated, we have to start examining these people's character. I don't want to hear nothing about, I don't care if you white, I don't care if you black. I just want to know your character. I just want to know. I say it like this, whether it's a black community, white community, Hispanic community, whatever community you a part of, it feeds into our communities with these identity politics. Just because someone, and what I'm meaning by that is, just because someone shares your skin tone doesn't mean they the best candidate, doesn't mean they have good character, and doesn't mean we should be exalting them to another level. And that is my argument. That is why I think that we have to start reevaluating how we look at these celebrities, how we look at people that have money, because money does not equate, notoriety doesn't equate good character. This has been another episode of Pour Your Own Problems. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'm out.